Hey, what's going on everybody? Chad Christian coming at you with another exciting video. Today I'm bringing you the MacBook Pro 15 base model. This has the AMD Radeon 450. They also have a 455 and a 460 as an upgrade option. Just wanted to see what the gaming performance was on all the AAA titles that are out right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. And just a side note, this is running on Windows 10 with Boot Camp. So you can see the first game I've got is Overwatch. I've got it set to 1920 by 1080. The graphics quality settings is set to medium. Anti-aliasing on almost every game I always try to keep off or set it low. I always try to turn my VSync off. Pretty much anything that's going to do any screen tearing I leave off. Most of the games, in my eyes, as long as it will get to 30 frames per second, I feel that that's good enough for me. If you're a competitive player, obviously you'll want 60 frames per second because that's what the human eye can actually see. But anything above and beyond that, it's pretty hard to tell. So for me, anywhere between 30 and 60 frames per second, I am going to give it a thumbs up. If the game does not meet or qualify for that, I will give it a thumbs down. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the gaming. So you can see we're playing in a window and I'm still getting 50 frames a second. All the character models look good. Let me know down below which one's your favorite character that you like to play. Looks like we're at 70 frames a second, holding steady. No screen tearing. Quality looks good. Frames per second still holding around 70. And that's probably just because the limiter's set. Let's look at that. Here, we'll turn off the screen base. So yeah, there we go. So now our frames per second is at 96, 95. So now we're averaging 75, 80, 85. So now we're averaging 90 frames a second. Dips down to around 75. Alright, let's see if we can push the display a little bit more. Right now it's set to medium. Let's go to high. And we're at 100 frames per second. So will it play Overwatch? You bet it will. Alright, this time I'm going to bring you another classic AAA title. This is Fallout 4. We're going to try to run it at 1920 by 1080, anti-aliasing turned off, and let's see how it works. Now remember, this is just the base model, so if you get this with the AMD Radeon 460, that one's almost double this one. At 1.7 teraflops, I believe, or this is 1 teraflop. So yeah, we're getting a steady 30 frames per second. See, it plays smooth, looks good, no graphical glitching, shadows, lights look good, it's crisp, it's fast, very smooth. Models look good. Gameplay's smooth. So will it play Fallout 4? Yes, it will. No problem. Let's try another game. So you can see if I go into the options here, choosing up 1400 megs of the 2 megs available for the RAM. Resolution set at 1920 by 1080. I've turned all the anti-aliasing I turned off just because it takes more processing power. Choosing DirectX 11, and let's see how it plays. Now I'm actually running the game off of this SSD drive over here on the side, which is just a Samsung T3 USB-C. That's what I'm running all my games from. And I'm using this adapter, which I'll leave a link below, which has three USB 3 inputs and an SD card and a micro SD card reader in it. So there is no such thing as dongle life. So if you start hearing that again, thumbs down all that crap. So right now I'm getting 30 frames per second. Which is, in my eyes, completely playable. Steady 30 frames a second. There's no tearing, no graphical glitching. So far looks good. All set. Over it. I'm calling it. Goodbye. Sound control still works in Windows 10, as you can see with the touch bar. So you can see everything looks good. No tearing, runs fast, 30 frames a second. And before all the haters say, oh, it's only at 30 frames per second, downgrade the resolution, tweak the settings, you'll get 60 frames plus per second. So don't worry about not being able to play it at maximum peak performance. You can play it as fast as you want, just tweak the settings. Grand Theft Auto 5 running on the brand new MacBook Pro. Awesome. If you guys like these videos, make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit that thumbs up, letting me know you like them. If there's any games you want to see, let me know. I'll also do that. Now, the next game that we have up is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And if you can't tell, I've been progressively getting the games that are harder and harder and more taxing on the GPU. So give you a good idea of what different types of games and how they're going to run in your system will look like. So as you can see, I'm getting 60 frames per second. I'll show you what I've got set up here. On that 1920 by 1080, 60 hertz is locked, so 60 frames per second on the screen. Run it full screen. Texture resolution set to low. I basically used all the auto configuration settings for it. So let's see what happens if we crank this up a little bit, which I would not recommend on any system going over 1920 by 1080, but somebody's going to ask, right? So now it's at 4K, but it's only getting 15 frames a second, so unplayable. You might be able to tweak the settings, but I wouldn't recommend playing it like that. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you leave comments and let me know what games you'd like to see. So 53, 47, 50 frames a second, 55, 52. So I'd say on average we're getting around 50 frames a second. Very playable. Fans are slightly audible, not even close to being as loud as on a gaming laptop yet. We'll let it run for a little bit, see if we get any thermal throttling or if the fans get louder. Now, one thing to note, there is an AMD update that it says it needed for the graphics driver, and I did not do that. I just told it go ahead and play anyway, so performance might increase a little bit once you install that newer driver. So yeah, anybody going to school, this can be used as a work system and as a fun play system. So everybody talking about how this isn't powerful and it doesn't play and it's not good for games. Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. Sure, you can buy a gaming laptop that's designed specifically for games. If you want to play games on it, go ahead. As you can see, no problems. Alright, this time I'm going to bring you the new action-packed game called Doom. Settings are set to full screen, resolution 1920 by 1080. Anti-aliasing is turned off. VSync is off. Motion blur is off. So as you know, this is a really graphics-intensive game. So if you can run Doom, you can pretty much run anything. 30 frames a second. 18, so it's bouncing around here on the cutscene, but we'll see what happens when the real gameplay comes up. I have not tried any of these games on here. You're seeing it for the first time with me. If it stays at that low frames, we'll have to tweak the settings, but we'll see. $23. Oh, snap. $20 frames. It's not chopping though. It's actually still smooth, but after I kill these guys, we'll take a look at the settings, just like the mouse control's not fast enough. I like to get around 30 frames a second, so we're going to tweak the settings till we get that right. So let's see what we have. We'll go back into the settings. Video. Let's change the resolution on this one to 720p and see how that works. Keep the display settings. I would sacrifice a little bit of resolution to get those frames up to at least 30. So you can see at 720 it's running 35, 40 frames a second. Much better now.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I'm the head of this facility. I think we can work together and resolve.
Sound system's really good, isn't it?
Benefits us both.
Alright, see what we got. Lighting looks good. Still running at a solid 30 frames a second, it's not dipping at all. And this is a big room with a lot going on. So can I play Doom? Looks good. Let's try another game. And here's another AAA title. This is Battlefield 1. I'm in the display options right now. You can see again that I've got it set to 1920 by 1080 at 60 Hertz. We'll see if it'll run that. It is set to full screen. Looks like the graphics settings are set to auto, which is good, so it should automatically detect it. GPU memory restriction, so it won't go beyond how much memory you have on board. And let's see how it plays. Looks great. Good modeling, no screen tearing. Controls are smooth. There's no jerkiness to it. Whoa. Looks good. Plays good. See, there's a lot going on the screen. It's still not stuttering. It's not slowing anything down. Whoa. Hold the line, man. Looks good. Look at the smoke detail. You know, it's clean. Whoa. Whoa, barbecue. Oh. So will it play Battlefield 1? Definitely. Let's try another game. Now we're going to try one of the most demanding games, The Witcher 3. So you can see I've got it set to 1920 by 1080 again. 1920 by 1080, I do not expect this game to run smooth at all on this. This is such a graphics intensive game. Alright, so let's see how it does. 25, 27 frames a second, 28, 25, smooth, 26, it's still smooth even at 28 frames a second, so it's real close to my minimum 30 frames per second spec on Witcher 3. That's incredible. Look at the shadows on the floor, the lighting. Smooth, it's very smooth. Dipping down to 25. Still though, this is very playable. Look how nice that looks out there. 24, 25. So 25 to 30 frames a second at 1920 by 1080. Extremely acceptable. Dynamic lighting looks good. All the shadowing. No screen tearing. So, will it play Witcher 3? Yes, it will. So that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you would, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate it. Make sure you share and comment down below. And as always, if you like this, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.